but he said that it is very common that after the Panchakarma, women conceive. So he said that. So I was prepared, okay, this might happen. And it did.
You mentioned old wife tales. It's a very, very trending Instagram content,
Right.
even on YouTube, in the entire digital space. A pregnant mother who is going to have a baby, she always made a reel related to old wife tales, gender protection.
Right.
So if your bump is like this or that, you are having a girl or a boy. If you are nauseatic enough or not,
Or if you're craving sweet or craving salty.
So did you try for yourself?
Yeah, I had 18-hour labor, as I mentioned to you, with that complication of the vomiting. And then after 18 hours also, the baby's head didn't come down because the baby was very large.
Pregnancy is a beautiful and a transformative journey, just not only for a mother, but also for a growing fetus. It is the time for anticipation, excitement, and a lot of questions. Welcome to Palan Poshan podcast presented by Baby Forest. Hi, I'm Apoorva, and today we have a special guest with us. Her name is Noor Anand Chawla. She is an independent lifestyle journalist, a well-known traveler, and a fashion blogger. She has contributed to many newspapers and magazines in India, including HT Brunch, Times Now, and many more. Hi Noor, welcome to Palan Poshan podcast. How are you doing?
I'm well. Hi Apoorva. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here.
No, we are also very excited, and since you are pregnant, congratulations. And can you please tell us which is when you are due, which current month is going on?
Sure. Thank you very much for the congratulations, and I believe congratulations are in order for you too.
Thank you so much.
I have just started my 7th month, but this is my second baby. I already have an 8-year-old child, so it's been a long gap between the two pregnancies.
Wow. So I really wanted to understand, it's a huge gap, you had a baby 8 years back and now you're planning again. What was in your mind, is this sudden or it is a planned pregnancy?
So it's a very interesting story. When I had my first child, my son, I was 28 years old at the time, and we had planned that pregnancy, but I don't think I was quite mentally prepared.
Okay.
So when I had him, the first 2, 3, 4 years, it was so overwhelming parenting for me at that time that I decided I don't want a second one at that time.
Okay.
But then when he turned 4, 5, he became quite independent. He's joined school. Life became a lot easier for me. And so I decided, okay, now it's the right time. It was also COVID. We were at home. So I was like, this is a good time to start planning a second child. But then for about 4 more years or 3.5 more years, nothing happened. We kept trying, got our tests done, everything. But everything was fine. There was no medical issue between my husband and me, but it just wasn't happening. So we thought, okay, we'll leave it. God knows best for us. We just decided we'll leave it. We did not want to try any interventions or anything. Then last year, I have a eczema problem, so on my feet. So I had tried a lot of dermatology for it, etc., but it had not helped. So I decided to try Ayurveda for eczema. And I decided to do a procedure called the Panchakarma, which is a complete system detox, where you are put on a very, very strict diet and you're taking Ayurvedic medicines for about 3 to 4 weeks. And there is a huge purge of your system. It is very uncomfortable and very difficult, but it did help with the eczema. But I think more than that, it really helped me, just change my system. So I was able to conceive all of a sudden. So that's why the story of this very, very long age gap between the two.
I believe that all these detox
therapies,
healing and alternative therapies do help your body, because we are living in the era where our lifestyles are not really appropriate, I would say. Our eating habits are bad, our drinking habits are bad.
And
so
also, even if we try to eat healthy, there's a lot of pesticides in our foods, and whatever we are consuming, we are not even really aware of how unhealthy it is for us, So it is important. In fact, my Ayurvedic doctor had told me that you may not be, it's not that I was trying to conceive, but he said that it is very common that after the Panchakarma, women conceive. So he said that. So I was prepared, okay, this might happen. And it did.
I mean, it's a beautiful insight, if you are going to detox your body and then you try, so definitely there is 100%, not 100%,
there is a connection.
There is a connection, or slightly your chances are better to get conceived.
Yes, that's
because
the best
your body is detoxed, and
yes, it's best prepared.
It's best prepared for that, yeah. So, since you mentioned it's a 8 years gap and you already had your first child, What was your reaction when you found out that again you are pregnant after that 8 years gap?
So you can imagine, I mean, there was all a lot of disappointment for those 3-4 years that we had been trying and had not been able to conceive. Also because I couldn't quite understand it. I was like, the first time when I tried it happened so fast without any problem. What is wrong with me? It's so easy for moms to blame ourselves, right? It's like, is there something wrong with me? Why is it not happening?
Happens.
So when I did finally conceive, I was very excited about it. And my husband wasn't even in town. So I sent him a picture of the test and I said, okay, congratulations. So he couldn't even believe it. And we were both over the moon, very, very excited. I think, now I'm 36. I'm at a better age to appreciate the joy of what I'm doing, the joy of giving birth.
This really happens, trust me, because when I found out when I'm pregnant, so I realized I'm mature enough to understand the importance of having a child and importance of becoming a mother. So I really wanted to understand, I'm really sorry if I'm barging so much into
Not
this
at
thing.
all, please.
It's an 8 years gap. Do you had any a societal pressure on you or dilemma came into your mind, what people will say, I'm getting pregnant after 8 years of a gap?
Interesting. No, actually, that didn't happen. That didn't happen at all. What I can say is, we had already decided, okay, if we don't have another kid, it's fine. We were fine with that. But that time we used to get a lot of queries. Why are you not having a second child? It is so important to have a sibling. That we heard a lot, from everyone, from my parents, to people I work with, to kids in his, parents of kids in my son's school. I mean, it was everywhere. It was like a very big question. And I feel like that was intrusive, because what do I say? I'm unable to conceive. I don't want to go on telling people that, right? That was a bit too much. But when I did conceive at 36, I never felt. I felt only that, okay, will my body be able to handle it? That was my only concern. So I went to my gynecologist, who I love and trust. And she said, don't be silly. Now women are conceiving so much later in life. And this is your second child. You are absolutely fine and healthy. Don't worry. There is nothing wrong with you.
Of course.
So I did not feel any social pressure of conceiving later in life at all.
Very, very good to hear this, because most of the times people start criticizing a woman, especially when you talk about tier 2 and tier 3 cities. The moment they cross their age 30 is crossed, they are like, you won't be able to get pregnant if you won't try it right now. I mean,
I think we are fortunate that we live in Delhi, so there's that much judgment is
but trust me, Noor, there are people still in Delhi,
maybe I'm just fortunate that my family and friends did not say anything.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that finally, you have conceived after 8 years, and I wish you luck. And आपकी पूरी pregnancy बहुत अच्छे से जाए. Moving further, I wanted to understand, since it is your second pregnancy, what kind of symptoms you have felt, to acknowledging you're pregnant. So if you can share a few experiences with us.
Yeah, so that's very interesting. I feel like the second time around, the mother can tell very fast. I actually found out very early on.
Really?
Yeah, because I felt changes in my body. I mean, obviously a little bit of weight, etc. that is there. But I felt something was different. I could just feel it.
Okay.
So it had not even been 4 weeks and I decided to check. Even though I didn't even ask my doctor, nothing. But I just felt कि कुछ हो रहा है. And I checked and I was pregnant. And I think it happened because I knew those differences in my body from the first time. Uस time I had not known that was a symptom. But it's just that after I found out I was pregnant, I was like, okay, ये इसका symptom था. So similar things were happening. And of course, a little bit of sickness. I've unfortunately had nausea throughout both pregnancies.
Even in this pregnancy currently?
So, what has happened this time is I've dealt with it better throughout, not just first trimester was the worst. It was all the time. But second trimester ke baad, it started happening only in the evenings, very strangely. So, I take every night, one anti-nausea pill on my doctor's orders. And that has helped me.
It was that bad?
Yeah. If I don't take it, I will throw up. It is like a definite thing. So I take it as a precaution because I start feeling that nausea. I take it and it goes, and then I don't throw up. And another issue that I had faced in my first pregnancy during labor, 18 hours labor, I don't know, some sort of defense mechanism of my body to the pain. Every time I had a contraction, I would throw up. every single time. So you can imagine if there were 200 contractions, I threw up 200 times.
Oh.
So that's why I mean, I just, didn't want to take a chance. So now I'm like, take the medicine and be fine.
I mean, you definitely have to prepare yourself, and precautions is better than cure.
And basically every pregnancy is different. Lots of funny things can happen, and my advice to all women would be, whatever symptom you're facing, be open with it with your doctor.
Yeah.
Take that person's advice, because otherwise it's very hard to do on your own.
Okay, Noor, so you have recommended Panchakarma that worked for you. Would you like to advise our users, definitely mothers who are trying to conceive, and women who are suffering from fertility issues? Will you advise them, to go ahead for the treatment which you have taken? Everybody is different, we understand that, but it worked for you, it may worked for them also.
Absolutely. So I think that it's not only Panchakarma. What I would say is, I know that a lot of my close friends have tried IVF when they were unable to conceive, because they had issues. It was not like they just did it out of fun. So it's tough, and sometimes it is difficult to conceive even with IVF. There have been failed IVF, etc. So I would say, if you are most comfortable with the medical procedure, go for that first, if you are unable to conceive, right? But if you are willing to try alternative things, I would highly recommend the Ayurvedic Panchakarma. I also recommend acupuncture.
Oh, yeah.
Which basically I do acupuncture for I have a back problem, and that has, acupuncture cured my back problem. But I believe it is very good even for fertility issues. And I think another very important thing that women don't talk about is their mental health. It is extremely important. And I'll tell you this, the second part of my story before I conceived. So the Panchakarma helped to a certain extent. It prepared my body. But the other thing was that last year, my eczema had gotten so bad that it had started spreading across my body.
Across your body?
It has come up to the legs. First it started with the feet, it had come up to the legs. And you can imagine how it looks, and that the stress of that on the mind. So I was so stressed out, and I had, I was just not in a good mental space because of that, because of the physical problem of the eczema. So I changed my doctor finally. When it did not go away, I changed my doctor, and my doctor then told me, he prescribed a different medicine. It worked, and after that worked, then I conceived. So I think there were two parts to my conception story. One was the inner cleaning and detox from Panchakarma, and the second was
your
the removal of stress.
Yeah.
And sometimes women don't even realize they're stressed. There can be something as small as they're doing very well in their careers, and in the back of their mind there's something like, oh, I will have to stop working. What should I do? Is it really worth it? But they've not acknowledged this feeling even to themselves, because it's hard to do that.
True.
There can be so many little stresses, or it can be something like, you're living with your in-laws and you don't have enough space. Where will I put the child's nursery? Things like that.
Very petty issues.
Yeah, but they really weigh on your mind, and they stop you from conceiving because that stress is there.
Yeah.
So to counter these things, there is no harm in talking to a specialist, to actually curing your mental health, just to calm yourself down. Everything counts. It should be a holistic approach.
True. So I believe, since you mentioned IVF and fertility issues, I believe that those treatment even couldn't be successful all the time because of the mental stress they are going through.
That is true. And IVF is very painful and
IVF
very
is
hard.
Very painful, and it's mentally exhausting.
Yes.
Because you have to go through so many artificial painkillers and injections, artificial progesterone in your body is going on. So I'm being very honest with you and very candid here. It doesn't work because women are not mentally prepared even.
Yes.
And again, I mentioned society here because it's a lot of pressure on a woman. She has to conceive, she has to become a mother, and
and she has to do it in a certain time frame.
Their time frame, of course, before 30, after 30, so many things going on their mind. So very correctly mentioned, mental health is very, very important.
Yeah.
How did you cope, when you were talking about your eczema thing and you changed your doctor, you mentioned, but after that, you're pregnant, which things, which majorly things are keeping you sane?
Right. So it's been a good pregnancy for me, despite the nausea and despite all of that. That's good. And I think that's because this time I was so much better prepared. So I knew the things that I had to do to keep my well-being intact, right? Which is what you're asking about.
Yeah, that's
So obviously the first 3 months I was very sick. The nausea was really bad. I didn't do anything, no exercise. I used to sleep most of the day because I was so tired all the time, sick all the time. Then as soon as I started my 4th month, I began to take regular walks every day at least I would say 5 times a week.
Wow.
And for about 40 to 45 minutes in a park, because then you get the benefit of being in nature.
Yeah.
And I started prenatal yoga classes with a personal trainer who comes home.
Wow.
And she's trained not only in prenatal yoga but also physiotherapy, and she knows a little bit of weight training. So she's actually helping strengthen my body, which I really like. I do that twice a week. And I also started therapy, which I didn't think that I needed, but I started doing it anyway. Once a week, I speak to a therapist.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what do you talk about?
I talk about my anxieties. Initially, it was like, am I prepared for this baby? What is going to happen to my career? What am I going to do? Now, we don't even talk about those things. Now we talk about normal things. Oh, I felt angry yesterday because of this reason. Pregnancy hormones are all over the place, right?
Yeah.
But I feel so much better. That is not that I needed it. There was no specific issue. But it's really nice just being able to talk to a totally outside person who's not a family or a friend. Just like an agony aunt, right? And 1 hour in a week, and that's it. And it really helps. And I highly recommend it for people who are willing to do it.
I think it should be in their to-do list.
Yeah,
if you can speak someone out of your family and your heart out, I think it relaxes your body, it relaxes
because the family
your mind.
doesn't always take an objective viewpoint,
That's
so
true.
they're only going to see it from their perspective. But a therapist is there to listen to you and to guide you, and she'll give me exercises like, okay, what are the gratitude things that you should be concentrating on? Or if you are unable to sleep at night, why don't you do these 5 things? So she also addresses a lot of other things, which, in your pregnancy, you don't think about.
It's so wonderful, to mention all these things to some person, where, as I mentioned, you can speak your heart out, you can share your feelings with them. What are you feeling? Most of the times, it's very difficult to even share this thing with your partner also, because
they don't understand. They're not going through the same.
Maybe they will understand, but they will not
understand. Sympathetic, but they will not understand.
You need someone who can empathize with you. Instead of being sympathy, you are not looking for a sympathy from anyone. But yes, I believe that's a very good thing to tell to our user, they should have this in their to-do list while...
So no, but it has to be both physical wellness and mental wellness together.
Yeah, that's so good to hear. Since you mentioned that you are speaking to a counselor and you are speaking to a therapist, of course.
Yeah.
So have you informed your family about it, or?
Yeah, it's not a secret at all.
Okay.
Actually, I'll tell you honestly, my husband is the one who suggested I do it, because I used to get angry and I was fighting with him. And then he was like, I totally understand, you're going through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And if you feel like just talking to me is not helping you cope with your feelings, perhaps you should talk to someone else. So he's the one who suggested it, and very supportive. And I recommend that person to everybody who asks me. I've shared the number so many times. I got the number from a friend. I don't think there's any taboo in this day and age, in talking about pursuing your mental health. You have to... everybody suffers from some sort of emotional outburst at some point in their life. And there is no harm in wanting to deal with your feelings, in a healthy manner.
No, Noor, I think you are so broad-minded, I would say. You understand yourself so much that you need to speak to someone. But trust me, Noor, as you mentioned, it's not a taboo. There are people who are still skeptical going to a psychiatrist or to a therapist, and they start feeling like, what would I share with them? What would, how about if my family get to know about this, that I'm seeing a therapist? They will consider me mad person, or they will consider me something.
Absolutely. I get it. There are plenty of reservations. I get it. Sometimes, in fact, there is a serious problem, right? I see, for example, a fellow writer had asked us, her 12-year-old son has suddenly developed a stammer. I said, obviously there is a psychological issue there. If a 12-year-old is developing a stammer. So I gave the number of my therapist, but she was very reluctant. No, I just want to speak to a speech therapist. I was like, why would you not want to solve the issue? I get it. There is a taboo. You're right.
There is a taboo,
There is. But I feel like the more we speak about it,
Yeah.
the better it is and the easier it is for people who actually need help to start seeking it.
I can take your example. You are so articulate, you are so educated, you are so intellectual, but still you are finding someone out of your family to speak with
Yeah,
some, like,
absolutely. And I think it's great. It gives me it's a part of my me time just as much as the walk in the park.
Any weirdest myth you got to know about?
I mean, there are lots. So, for example, things you're not supposed to eat, they say you can't eat papaya,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, but that is for a lack of a better word, old wives' tale. Because my doctor has said
We'll
there
discuss
is
old wives' tales
nothing,
for sure.
there is nothing wrong with eating papaya in moderation,
Yeah.
right? Not at all. In fact, in the first trimester, women are often constipated.
Yeah.
And papaya is a very good
Good for
natural
your-
solution.
yeah.
So I was very surprised to hear this because my cook was telling me, no, papaya nahi kha sakte. So
Maybe there is a science behind
Yeah.
it, but yes, a lot of restriction is there. You can't eat papaya, you can't have anything jiski taseer garam hoti hai,
Yeah,
like
they say
food.
those things,
yeah,
yeah.
so you can't eat that also because it certainly gives you a chances of miscarriage. So
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, because I'm a little superstitious, in the first trimester I didn't have the papaya, but now I have it in moderation.
You mentioned old wife tales. It's a very, very trending Instagram
Yeah,
content, even on YouTube, in the entire digital space. A pregnant mother who is going to have a baby, she always made a reel related to old wife tales, gender
Yeah.
protection.
Right.
So if your bump is like this or that, you are having a girl or a
Yeah.
boy. If you are nauseatic enough or not, you
Or if
have-
you're craving sweet or craving salty.
So, did you try for yourself?
Yeah, I keep trying to think because I have obviously not found out the gender because we live in India.
So we'll test for you. You answer it. Are you nauseatic your entire pregnancy?
But I was nauseatic in both pregnancies, so does that mean that it's going to be another boy? I don't know. But what is different is in the last pregnancy, I was really enjoying sweet. This time, I don't even enjoy the flavor of meetha. For some strange reason, I like khatta more. So I'm hoping that means it's a girl just because I already have a boy.
All right.
So yeah, that, and then the funny thing they say is if the bump is placed higher,
Yeah.
then it's supposed to be a girl. And lower is a boy. But so around my 5th, 6th month when the bump started showing, it was high, but now it's come low. So I don't know what that means.
Because you are preparing for labor and
Yeah,
it's a third
exactly.
trimester.
So I don't know
yeah.
if there is any value to these old wives tales because it changes so
I think
frequently.
it's a matter of luck. Like, most of the times, it depends on women's body. You can't
Yeah,
guess it. It
yeah,
is a blessing which
absolutely.
you receive from a God. And
I think the important thing is for
Yeah.
a healthy, happy
Healthy,
child,
happy
whatever
child,
the gender
yeah.
is.
Yeah. See, gender prediction is illegal in India. We both know that. But it's a most celebrated, I would
everybody
say,
wants to know.
event in out of India. Like,
Yeah, they have all these parties for gender reveal and all that.
yeah, so it's a most celebrated event, I would say, out of India. It's so good to know, but yes, these old wife tales keep us insane because I see all these reels on Instagram.
But it's
and
fun. I mean, it's fun. It's
yeah.
fun to
It's
see
fun,
them,
it's
and
fun.
just try and guess, if nothing else. But let me tell you, that moment when the baby comes out and the doctor tells you what the gender is, that surprise is so wonderful.
So I also wanted to ask you. I was actually going through media newses in shorts on Instagram. A very well-known celebrity talks about botulism in babies, like the myth which we are talking about that ये नहीं करना चाहिए वो नहीं करना चाहिए. वैसे ही जब newborn होता है, our mothers and mother-in-laws, they usually have this notion in their mind कि honey taste कराना है बच्चे को. And doctors चाहे जितना भी मना करें, doctors चाहे आके उनको डांट भी दें, but still somehow or other उनकी पोटली में you will find a organic honey bottle और and वो बच्चे को चिटा देते हैं. But it's a very significant thing which I have read that it shouldn't.
It's harmful to the
It's
baby.
harmful to the baby, and they should not do this. Like, So what's your call in here? And a very well-known celebrity even talked about it. So can you please share your insights?
Absolutely. सच्ची बताओ तो ये तो अभी बोल रहे हैं, but I knew about this when my son was born 8 years back. Our doctor said that you cannot, this is a total no-no. You cannot put honey for 1 year on the baby's tongue because it's very dangerous for the baby. जैसे आपने बोला already ये bacteria हो जाता है, which causes botulism. So obviously you don't want to compromise with your baby's health. Now in my case, my family thankfully did not force anything of this kind.
hmm.
There were certain other things you were told by the doctor. काजल नहीं लगाते हाँ आईज के आसपास. ऑब्वियसली अगर छोटा काला टीका लगाना है दैट्स अप टू यू, बट आईज पे नहीं लगाते.
Noor, you mentioned that हम लोग बहुत ज़्यादा पढ़ते हैं during our pregnancy, and of course Google is our best friend
Right.
now, and we search each and everything on Google, even symptoms related also.
Yeah,
like, you know, I'm in my
yeah.
third trimester, I'm having so many, you know, constipation,
Yeah.
like, you know, motions, kuch bhi, whatever, any
symptom,
keyword
yeah.
we search on Google. Do you think this is right? I mean, most of the times we become half doctor ourselves. Do you think it is right, like, you know, unnecessary creating pressure in your mind? Or
So in my first pregnancy, I did it a lot because I felt so unprepared.
yeah,
I read a lot, Google Pay books. I signed up for these Lamaze classes, childbirth classes, सब कुछ किया. But फिर भी जब baby आया ना, I was still not prepared because actually you only learn on the job.
Yeah.
When you have that baby, and every baby is different, every baby's needs are different, every mummy is different.
Yeah.
I went through a little bit of postpartum depression also. My emotions are very low. You're not getting enough sleep. You know, you're trying to breastfeed. It's not an easy journey. There's so much happening. So this time I've decided, ye sab chodo, relax and enjoy 9 months as much as you possibly can. The only 1 or 2 trusted sources that I have, and I'm only referring to those. One is my Baby Center app, which I swear by because, I mean, they have never given me any wrong advice. The doctor, of course. And there is a book that I would highly recommend. I don't know actually if it's easy to find in India, but if you can, you know, do try. It's by a writer called Gina Ford. And it's called the Contented Baby book. So it basically teaches you how from day one you can train your baby to sleep in cycles so that that pressure is less on
wow,
you.
yeah.
So the last time I had read it, but I didn't implement it properly. So this time I'm really hoping, because I'm a working mother and I have an older child, I'm really hoping to do that. You know, and she gives very practical advice. She shares things like how you need to pump at this time and how you need to feed at this time. And it has to be a balance between pumping and feeding for the first 3 months. And in between those things, itne nap is time pe hona chahiye, itna nap, and never longer than a certain amount, never shorter than a certain amount. And they fall into this track, you know, and then they become good sleepers. So I'm really hoping
Yeah, I mean,
for that to happen.
Yeah, as you mentioned, postpartum is actually real, and
PPD, which people call postpartum depression.
yeah, it's actually real. Postpartum
It's
depression.
very common, very common.
And you feel like, you know, you have to take care of your baby, nobody is with you, you have to take care of yourself, you are just
in
alone,
pain, you are in pain,
you are in
recovering
pain
from a huge trauma to your body.
Yeah.
Whether you give a natural birth or you have a cesarean. Natural birth में it's like, okay, you have run a marathon, हाँ, कि इतने घंटे का labor, and उसके बाद stitches भी लगते हैं, and cesarean पे then it's a longer recovery process. So it is very hard on your body. Physically you are recovering, you are low on sleep, you are in charge of this new human life.
Yeah.
And you have never before this even had a, you know, even a pet, for example. Some people have not, right? It is too overwhelming. And then also you cannot work, at least for the first 40 days or 2 months, you cannot work, right? Because your attention is going to that little being. And of course, you may have help. Like touch wood, I'm very blessed to have a partner who is extremely supportive. But even then, the bulk of the work is being done by you.
Actually, and that is the main concern, and that is the main reason I would say women go through a lot. She has to wake up in the night, as you mentioned that.
Because feed तो मैं ही करूँगी.
Yes, as you mentioned, feed तो आप ही करोगे अपने आप को. पूरा रात भर आपको जगना है. You are not having good sleep.
Yeah.
You know, you are sleep deprived, and then next
And
day.
the emotions also, there are too many emotions. Sometimes women are unable to even connect with the child because suddenly it's like, ये क्या हो गया मेरे साथ?
It happens. It happens. Like, you know, a very dear friend of mine, blessed with a baby girl, but first 10 days she was not connected with her, and she was like, I don't know why I'm not really connected with her, and I'm her mother, and it really happens.
I mean, there was some very sad news in the media just last week. I don't know if you read about it. This lady, her second child, her second baby, fell, I think, from the house in Chennai somewhere.
Oh.
And they rescued the baby. It was fine, but she got a lot of flack on social media, right? वो viral हो गया video. People started saying, what kind of a mother is she? Then she committed suicide because
Oh my
obviously
God.
she was going through postpartum
Depression, yeah.
and then she felt like she was being blamed for, I mean, it was just an accident. And you feel so bad now that baby has no mother.
See.
See, it's very, you have to be very sensitive to a postpartum woman.
Yeah.
There's so many things that woman is dealing with. And of course, the baby is also dependent on her.
Of course,
so
and
it's a tough time.
It's a tough time, and after hearing this, I believe women को postpartum depression से deal करना आना चाहिए. They should go out and speak to someone, look for
Their
help.
family has to be very supportive.
Yeah,
you
the
know,
family.
Here I cannot say anything to the woman because the woman doesn't even know what she's facing.
Maybe,
right?
yeah.
But her partner, it is so important now. In this 21st century, there is no excuse for a father to not be an involved father.
Of course.
There is no excuse.
Yeah.
The father, if he, fine, does not want to change nappies is one thing, but has to take care of the emotional well-being of his wife. Yeah, he is an equal partner in that relationship. And of course, she should lean on her parents, should be, supporting her, her in-laws, whoever, anybody should be just looking out for the well-being of that woman. सब भूल जाते हैं ना mother को. It's like अब baby आ गया, अब सिर्फ baby
ये
हो
fact
जाता है.
है. Like even in hospitals I have seen the moment you delivered, everybody is like झुंड लगा के crowd करके बच्चे को लेके खड़े हैं. But
And
nobody
mother
is
is
with
forgotten.
mother is forgotten. So I believe at that point of a time, if husband is supportive enough,
Very important.
that's a big thing for her.
I hope that every woman who's listening to us and the men, some men hopefully, will tell
Many
their
men, I would
husbands,
say.
will tell their husbands that it is extremely important that you take care of me, even if it's something as simple as give her a hug at the end of every night.
Yeah.
Because she has had a very tough day. She has had a very tough day. So just go and hug her. She'll feel happy.
Yeah.
Chota sa, and ask her, how are you feeling? Can I do anything for you? Can I get you something you want to eat? Just small things like that.
If they are listening to us, they should go and hug their wife right now.
Right now, absolutely.
Okay, so moving forward, you mentioned postpartum depression, you mentioned a skincare routine. A lot of doctors advise us stop using chemical based and very harmful sulfate and pesticide based color cosmetics on our skin. What is your skincare routine right now?
So I've actually cut down a lot on the products that I was using, and I use only things that I trust and know are made with natural ingredients, and I know that they work well on my skin. So actually in my first pregnancy, I also had really bad acne problem. So that time though I couldn't do any skincare because, so maybe that's another thing. This time I don't have acne, so hopefully it's a girl because us time boy tha. Maybe old wives' tale pe aa gaye. But yeah, so basically I use a sunscreen because I go for walks. That is extremely important. In fact, I use double sunscreen, once in the morning and once again later. I use a moisturizer, which is very, very important again. And I use one serum, which is from a trusted brand that I know it doesn't have any chemicals.
Very nice.
I do wear makeup because I'm very fond of makeup.
Of course, I mean, and we have to go out and meet people.
Yes, absolutely.
And so makeup is necessary, but yes.
But I know again, now after years of trial, I have figured out what works and what doesn't.
Not, yeah.
And my doctor has not restricted anything as such.
Okay.
So that is also.
Yeah, again, as I mentioned, we become an avid reader and researcher on Google.
Yeah.
So we find out many things which is not good for babies. But yes, you're right. If you are listening to your doctor, and I think it's a matter of selecting the right products.
So there are certain things you should know. कि अगर pimple आ गया तो the first thing you would do is that spot treatment, which is क्या बोलते हैं उसको
peptides and
those kind of things. You cannot use those. That is not allowed. Just let that pimple be.
Retinol, peptides.
These
things are not
use. They're very harmful for the baby. All of these newfangled things that they're talking about, they're not good for the baby. So just stick with your simple cleanser, moisturizer, sunscreen, and one serum. That's it. That's good enough for this time period. बाद में फिर से you can go back to it.
Of course, I would say, like, just not only color cosmetics, but also there are a lot of women who stop going to salons, getting
Yeah.
their hair colors done, because definitely these are ammonia
There are
based
chemicals.
and ammonia is not good for, anyway it is not good for anyone, but yes, it goes inside your hair scalp and it affects the baby. So I believe this is true. I mean, you should
it's
not.
True, actually, I don't color my hair, but my doctor has told me if ever you need to, just do the natural mehendi, you
Yeah.
know, for now, and then you can go back. So the other thing is laser hair removal that I used to do,
Yeah.
but I've stopped that completely during
yeah,
pregnancy.
yeah.
Or gel nails.
Gel nails, yes.
I've stopped that also.
Because we need to cure it under the UV lights.
Under UV lights.
Yeah.
So, but there are women who do it. I don't know, because I mean, I just felt like I don't want to expose my child to that. So
Yeah.
I stopped it. But you can always do your research and figure out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. No, that's truly said. Like, if you are well, educated, and if you are well researched.
So, but having said that, I wouldn't say that going to salons is bad. Yes, you shouldn't use ammonia-based hair dye, etc., etc. But self-care is very important. So, certain things you should not stop, and you should do as much as you can throughout your pregnancy. For example, if you just want a nice head massage.
Or foot massage.
Yeah, or
for
a nice foot massage, pedicure, manicure, threading, waxing, all these are safe treatments in pregnancy. There is nothing wrong with that. Go treat yourself once a week while you can. Baby ke baad time nahi milega. So abhi kar lo. And the other advice I will always give a mom who has either just started labor or is going for an induced one, wash your hair before you go, because for 7 days you will not be able to wash your hair.
Oh yes.
And people will be coming to meet you.
No. I've seen girls, women. Actually, their labor is about to start, or their C-section is planned, and they are at the salon and they are getting their waxing done. They are getting their blow dryer and shampoo done.
Yeah. So pamper yourself while you can. जब वो first contraction शुरू होती है ना, it's not so bad. तब कर लो. That's the time to do it.
No, it's very true. Like, self care and your self pampering is very important for every woman, just not only pregnant, for every woman. Right. Now and then they have to indulge in all these kind of activities. As you mentioned that contraction start हो गए हों या induced दिया जा रहा है आपको pain. How you are preparing yourself this time? Is it going to be a planned C-section you are going ahead with, or a normal delivery?
I don't have a straight answer to that, because my first one, I had 18-hour labor, as I mentioned to you, with that complication of the vomiting. And then after 18 hours also, the baby's head didn't come down because the baby was very large, which we had not obviously known at that time.
They have to come down through the pelvic area.
And exactly. So then my doctor advised that perhaps you should go in for a C-section. I had taken an epidural had worn off, and I was in so much pain, and that vomiting was constantly happening. So I was very weak, and I said, "Ab kar do." So I had a C-section the first time. Now, that complicates things a little bit for the second time, because now there's a long gap, and my doctor is advocating. She's telling me that you can try for a VBAC. A VBAC is a vaginal birth after cesarean. That is also, it can happen. It is rare, but it can happen, and it is healthy for the woman and for the baby. But in that case, there are some things you have to be very careful about. The mother cannot be too overweight, the baby cannot be too overweight, because the cesarean stitches can open. That's the biggest scare. So my doctor is saying we will try, but obviously closer to is when we will take a call. So it could be a planned C-section if the baby's weight is too much, or we could try for a natural. Let's see.
I mean, you're hoping for the best, and
basically I just want to be healthy, and I want my baby to be healthy. I'm okay with the second cesarean, though it's not good for the body. I know that.
Really?
But it is not, because twice you've been cut up. There are two major surgeries.
Okay, a second time it is not good for the baby. But how about women who are opting?
Even the first cesarean, if you can
avoid,
I would avoid. I can say that the recovery period was not at all nice. It is quite bad. You are in a lot of pain, immense pain for at least a couple of weeks. You have movement restrictions because it's a very major surgery. Your organs have been exposed and stitched back together. And the other problem is, after you have this, you will always have a little flap of hanging skin.
Really?
Yes, unless you get a tummy tuck, which some women also do.
I mean, I do know that the 7 layers of skin is been cut, and then
they pull the skin back and then they stitch it, and that pulled skin that little flap will remain because it's been
All the
pulled.
time?
Yeah, because when your baby was at its biggest and now it's become flat.
Yeah.
So there is extra skin there, which they have to accommodate.
Oh.
So some doctors, they cut off
Oh.
2 inches of skin and then they stitch you up, which is what they say you can do a cesarean with a tummy tuck. But it's very dangerous. That procedure is very dangerous. And my doctor has said, I will not do it.
So you didn't
So
do that?
no. So पहले तो मुझे पता ही नहीं था. This
हाँ.
time when I asked her, she said, I would not recommend it. It is very dangerous. Don't do it. So I said, okay, fine. Then I'll live with it.
That flap is
Yeah.
not good.
It's not at all good. It's called a mummy's apron. And it's, I mean, it's one of the things you'll hate the most. When you remove your stitches and you're like, oh my God, what has happened to my body? You will have these moments also.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that contributes to your PPD because your body changes so much.
You will stop liking your body. I mean,
Initially, but of course, after a while, you can start working out, start eating healthy. You will get back on track. But yes, that initial shock is, it's too much.
yeah, I mean, उस flap को हटाने के लिए कितनी मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी? That is the thing, like you know.
वो कभी जाता नहीं है, but वो ना थोड़ा सा flat हो जाता है तो दिखता नहीं है through clothes. That's all I can say.
It's always there.
It's going to, unless you do a tummy tuck, which means cutting the skin.
Oh.
Yeah, but otherwise it will not go.
Oh, that's new and that's a new learning.
Yeah, so be prepared. So I would recommend if you can do a natural, everybody listening to me, natural is best.
Natural is best.
Yeah.
Natural is always best, I believe, but वो एक
fear भी होता है.
Fear होता है, like
I
you
know,
know,
I get it.
a person who is like you know have this anxiety issues, like you know, I'm a first time mom and pain कितना होगा, like बहुत सारी चीजें लिखी हुई हैं online, like you know, it is like कि 200 हड्डी टूटने का दर्द होता है.
But it's a momentary pain because I went through the labor and I still got a cesarean.
18 hours of labor.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Told.
So I can say that you know the pain is awful. It is awful. But
is it like a period pain or
God,
what kind of a pain
I can't. No, it's like 500 times worse than the period pain.
It's not a
you
period
can't
pain.
compare them.
Okay.
It is really bad. I mean, your whole body is racked with pain, and hosh hi nahi hota actually us time. You don't know what you're going through, but it's okay. Just think of it. After that, whatever few hours of pain, you are blessed with this amazing creation that you have made. Like, how shocking is that?
Yeah. As I mentioned, we are very strong.
It's
and
like, and also just this amazing feat that our body can do, which men can't do. It's
Of
like
course.
such an amazing thing.
Of course.
And you have your own child, and let me tell you, like, having a child is like nothing else on earth. No, nothing can give you that much joy as much as having a child.
True. We are blessed enough to have
Touch wood.
and to create another life inside us.
Absolutely, and it's a part of you. The child will always be a part of you.
Yeah.
So it is worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Taking that pain.
All that pain, and you forget it also after a while. I mean, honestly, it's all.
I mean, you didn't forget it. I mean, you are elaborately explaining everything.
Yeah, but you forget the actual pain, right?
Yeah.
You know कि ये हुआ था. Largely, these were the events that had happened.
Yeah.
But you don't. That's the only way women have more children, right? Because it's like they're not wired to remember the pain.
Yeah.
They're only wired to remember that it happened.
The good memories, like you know, the moment that child came into your bed, or
Exactly.
when you
The
hold
first
him
time
or
you
her
had-
for the first
you
time.
hold
Yeah.
the baby. And it's quite an amazing feeling.
What advice you would like to give to mom to be like they need to be active enough?
Definitely. You know, so this time, because I'm 36, in my last pregnancy, I didn't have water retention issues at all. But this time, I'm facing severe water retention issues.
Your swelling.
Swelling in my feet, swelling in my, I've had to buy new shoes because nothing fits.
Yeah.
And the only way to counter that is to be active. The more you walk, the more you move around, the better your circulation is, the better your weight is in check. It's just generally very healthy for you. Of course, unless there's a complication, like I know women have been told to be on bed rest, that's different.
Yeah, that's a different scenario altogether.
In our case, if we are not restricted, we must be as active as possible till the very end.
Are you facing insomnia? Because I am facing a lot of that.
Oh, you poor thing. I sometimes get it, but it's not so bad. Sometimes I wake up in the middle and then I'm unable to sleep again, but it's rare for me.
Okay.
But like I told you, my therapist had told me a few practices like deep breathing.
It helps.
It helps. Yeah, it helps. Also, I'm a reader. I love reading. So I just read a book and that calms my mind down, and then I'm able to sleep again after.
Yeah.
But you can try that.
Of course, I mean, insomnia is also very, it's a symptom, I would say, in
Yeah,
the third trimester.
it is a very common
It's a
symptom.
very common symptom, but it's very tiring, tired. You get really tired if you're not sleeping well, if you...
So try to take more naps in the day then.
Okay.
To counterbalance.
Like a power naps kind of.
Yeah. Like 10-15 minute naps, just rest while you can.
Okay.
Kind of situation, yeah.
All right, having said that, this is going to be a very excitement based question to you.
Sure.
You're going to have a little one very soon. What are your preparations for nursery, for your hospital bag,
Right.
what you have chosen already? Because I am an impulsive shopper, and I think I bought each and everything for my baby. I don't know what gender it is going to be, but still everything is either blue or a pink.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of everything. How about you?
So I also shopped like a maniac, and I wanted everything new, even though, my sister-in-law had children and she offered me everything. I was like, no, it has to be new.
I don't want
It has
anything
to be new. Yeah. So first pregnancy, I was like you. But this pregnancy, I'm quite different. I'm taking it very easy. I have a lot of the major things, like, cots and things like that. We are obviously going to repeat.
Perfect.
But yes, like you mentioned, for my diaper bag, for my hospital bag, those things obviously I will have to replenish.
Yeah.
And thankfully, Baby Forest products are some that I have tried and have loved. So I plan to include a lot of them.
Yeah.
And just in terms of planning what I'm planning to take to the hospital, the most important thing I would say would be a couple of organic sets of clothing.
Wow.
The mustard seed pillow, which you
Yeah.
mentioned helps with the scalp formation. Then Neer water wipes,
Yeah. Oh,
which
yeah,
are
Baby Forest Neer
yes, exactly, because
the organic
they are,
and,
it's so important. The water wipes are so much better than the chemical laden wet wipes on the market.
Yeah.
Then things like what is it? Almond oil for massage,
yeah.
and for washing the baby, the cleanser. So these kind of things that you know that you will need in the first few days, it's very important. So I would say stock up on the important things. Of course, diapers as well.
True.
Because you will need those.
You will need those a lot of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Noor, I'm also very concerned about a topic which is a quite sensitive topic, and I really want to talk about it. It's breastfeeding.
Yeah, sure.
Be it a first time mother or a second time or third time or fourth time. Fourth time generally koi hota nahi hai aajkal. But breastfeeding is a very sensitive topic for a mother, and again, as I mentioned, there is not specific taboo exists as of now in our society, but still people are very much judgmental. We are living in a kind of in an era where our lifestyles are not really good. I mean, we do not eat on times, a lot of fluctuation of timings are there, for poor eating. Then most of the times we find that either of us, my partner or me, we are smoking or drinking. There is no balanced healthy lifestyle we have as of now. So what is your point of view when you talk about breastfeeding? How important it is for a child? I do understand scientifically it is very important, and logically हमें breastfeed कराना चाहिए, but how about a mother who is not producing enough milk or lactation नहीं हो रहा है उसको? Does she feel guilty? Should she feel guilty about it or not?
She definitely shouldn't. I feel like breastfeeding is a very controversial subject, because you're told that you have to do it. It's something that you cannot get out of. But that mindset is totally wrong, because like I've mentioned many times in this podcast, every baby is different and every mother is different. And the individual experiences will be different. If you are able to breastfeed your child, wonderful, great. But if you're not, please don't feel guilty. It's okay. They will turn out okay. Back in the 70s and 80s, when formula companies were really pushing formula, the sale of formula, so a lot of children were formula fed, not breastfed. They turned out okay at the end of the day.
True, yeah.
So you cannot, yes, breastfeeding is better. Nobody is denying that. But you should not guilt yourself if you are unable to breastfeed. In my particular case, speaking about my journey, with my first child, I did breastfeed. I breastfed for 13 months. But I did not enjoy breastfeeding at all. It was a very difficult thing.
It's a personal choice also.
Absolutely. I did it because I felt, okay, I have the milk, there's no serious problem. But I didn't like it because my child was a cluster feeder. A cluster feeder means that after a certain point at night, he wanted to be fed every half an hour. And you can imagine, you just feel like a cow, you're just sitting there. It's a very difficult phase. And it was tough for me. He would wake me up many times at night just to be fed. So that was contributing to the sleep deprivation. So it was hard. And then finally at 8 months, I told myself, this is just too much for me. He had already started semi-solids between 5 and 6 months. And so we had reduced the breastfeeding, but you're still continuing with it. And he was doing it as a comfort thing at night more, right? So at 8 months, I told myself, I don't care. This is just too much for me. So I introduced one formula at night. It's called a top feed. I started doing that. So that cut down the frequency of the breastfeeding, the number of times you were doing it. So I did not feel guilty at that point. I was like, this is important for my health and my well-being.
Of course.
So this time I've decided that I will only do it for 6 months. If I'm enjoying it, I will continue. If I'm not, I will not put pressure on it.
All right, Noor, it was a great conversation. I just wanted to have a quick rapid fire with you.
Sure.
Like you are so, again, I'm telling you, articulate, and you are so organized. I really want you to answer few of my questions, like very fast if you can.
Sure.
Like if you can, you have already given this advice, but still if you can suggest a good pregnancy, you are an avid reader, you told yourself. So any good books if you can suggest us,
So I would say the book would be Gina Ford's Contented Baby book. But I would also say please get one app, either What to Expect or Baby Center, just for generic information. It helps.
All right. And what you are eating in a day, if you can tell us.
So I have been craving very simple home cooked khana.
You advise this also to us, we should always have home cooked khana in pregnancy, because
I've just stopped eating out. I don't enjoy bahar ka khana at all. I'm also obviously avoiding certain things. Asian food needs to be avoided because MSG kabhi dal dete hain.
Yes.
And raw, like Japanese food, you cannot have with sushis
and all,
So certain things you're not having. I'm enjoying if I do go out, I enjoy an Italian cuisine, like a pizza or a pasta is fine because it's safe. But mostly I want my mummy style rajma chawal, chane chawal, that kind of food is what I
And it is delicious, trust me.
It's healthy.
It's healthy also.
It's good for the baby. You're getting all of your minerals. You're getting all of your vitamins. It gives you a balanced diet. Also, because of the nausea, I did increase a little bit of my carb intake, which, but that was because battling with nausea. My doctor advised me to do that. So, and also avoiding sweet because I don't enjoy the flavor, and she's told me to avoid it also. And lots of fruits.
And a quick advice to all the pregnant mom to be, any quick advices you will give, it could be psychological, it could be mental.
I'll just say don't stress. Listen, there is no way of knowing what you're in for. So don't stress. There is no point in just overarming yourself with too much information and then still finding out you're not prepared enough. So just enjoy your pregnancy, get as much sleep as you possibly can. Go for a nice baby moon with your husband, enjoy that, and give time to yourself, prioritize self-care. Because after this, your life will change. It will change drastically.
So it's such a great conversation I had with you today, and such meaningful and insightful details you have given, for moms to be, and even to me as well. It's such overwhelming experience of yours to share with us. Thank you so much for coming at Baby Forest, and we appreciate you like the podcast, and we appreciate whatever we have discussed is something relevant for our users. And I hope
for inviting me.
I hope to see you once again with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much, Noor.
Thank you.
Anything we would like to say to our users?
I would highly recommend that you buy Baby Forest products if you haven't tried them already, because there are very few high quality products available on the market that are based on Ayurvedic principles, and you can really tell the difference, because I have obviously tried other sort of healthy products that market themselves as healthy products, but they're not always as good. I won't name any brands, but I would say definitely try Baby Forest.
Thank you so very much, Noor. Thank you. Pleasure having you here. Thank you.
My pleasure.